Hey guys, it's Zach, and today we're going to go over 3 more spell binds I was able to create with my Binding Vow system for D&D. One of which becoming Sukuna's very own Cleave and Dismantle. This video is also my 1000 subscriber celebration video, with a thanks and a surprise for future content at the end. All I'm going to say is that if you like JJK, you're going to really like this announcement. For those that don't know, and for those who may be watching the video for the first time about binding vows for D&D, you can go and watch this video here, where you'll get to see exactly what the system can accomplish in 3 different tiers of power, as well as maybe a brief explanation as to what it can do. And, much like before, instead of boring you with a 20-minute long yap explanation about the system, you can go become a member of my Patreon and read about the system in full yourself. Another announcement regarding that is that I plan on releasing huge updates to the spellbinding system once a month for as long as it takes to basically achieve its finished state. The next big update I have planned will add 21 more spellbinds, and maybe even more to that list if I end up coming up with more ideas along the way. The spellbinding system in its current state has around 21, so I'll be doubling the possibilities you can all play around with. This update will be coming out around the 14th of next month, so be on the lookout for that. I'll also post an alert over my Discord as well, so be sure to join there too if you would like to get a heads up. You also get to be a part of a D&D community where you can join games ran by yours truly. Alright. Let's get into the fun part of our video here, where I talk about the many spellbinds I was able to create with our system here, and to those who have already joined the Patreon and viewed the full system yourself, you might find the teasers of some of the spellbinds yet to arrive here in this video. But with that, let's get spellbinding. For our first spellbinding of this video, we have a spell of my own creation called Winged Scythe. A 4th level conjuration spell right from the Lexicon Sanguinum, a blood magic themed spellbook with over 30 spells of my creation. The core mechanic of this spellbook is a sacrifice mechanic where you can hedge your bets and give up your hit points to give your spells special properties, which you'll see here because Winged Scythe reads as such. You summon a sharp bloody wing behind you and perform a melee spell attack on a creature you can see within range. This attack deals 5d10 slashing damage on a hit, and you can sacrifice 46 hit points to cause the attack to also lash out in the cone in front of you. When casting the spell in this way, you perform a secondary conal attack with a range of 15 feet in front of you, with your primary target being the center of this cone where it is fixed. Creatures caught in the cone must roll a dexterity save or take 46 slashing damage on a failed save and half as much on a success. The creature hit by the initial melee spell attack does not take damage from the cone. For our example, assume that you're a 9th level caster who took the spellbind single target to area of effect. Taking this spellbind eliminates the need to have to sacrifice your hit points to gain that really nice dexterity save for guaranteed damage. However, we're going to make our spellbind a line to give us that visual of a blade shooting forward towards your foe. It also will lower our damage die from a d10 to a d6, which I know may seem like a lot, but wait, let me cook. We then take die to range to increase our line length from 20 feet to 40. But you see this guy here? He's definitely totally evil, right? And he would take a new spellbind, something unheard of. It would take away his ability to use the spell at all for the next minute after it's cast, utilizing the spellbind Lesser Ceiling in order to increase its damage potency again to a d8, making our Winged Scythe into what I like to call Winged Guillotine instead, due to the likely appearance it have of this thin blade rising from the ground in a slight slant towards the edge where it would therein strike a creature or opponent. And if you really wanted to, you'd still have the ability to sacrifice your hit points to have that added cone at the beginning, let's say if you're getting surrounded by creatures. But you would like to see the rest of the Lexicon Sanguinum, you can head over to my Patreon, and in fact, all spells and their accompanying spellbooks you see here in our video will be available there too for members. So do keep that in mind as we go through our video here today. However, as we transition into our second spell of this video, we have yet another homebrew spell of mine, a first level evocation spell called Note Pop. The spellbook is called The Magic of Soul, Soul being the goddess of art and music across my fantasy settings. The spellbook features 10 musically themed spells which require your instrument as a spellcasting focus to be able to use. Because, you know, it's kind of odd to me that we have a class all about music and then we have no music-related spells to go with it. Oh, yeah, our spell, Note Pop. It reads as such. You coalesce ambient magic to become solidified music. You make a ranged spell attack against a creature you can see within range. On hit, you deal 1d10 force, psychic, or thunder damage. Depending on the damage type you select, various effects can occur. If you choose force, the creature must roll a charisma saving throw or become dazed until the start of their next turn. A dazed creature cannot take reactions. If you choose psychic damage, the creature must roll a wisdom saving throw. Upon a failure, they have disadvantage on their next attack roll or saving throw. Lastly, if you choose thunder damage, the creature must roll a strength saving throw or be pushed in the direction of your choice by 10 feet. The spellbind was incredibly simple to make for this one, and it's more to showcase with one simple change you can acquire a lot of variance in a spell's use case. For our one and only spellbind that we took, it was single target to area of effect. And for our spell, we chose a 10-foot radius sphere. Then, because we took this as our spellbind, the damage is reduced from a d10 to a d6. You see, this may sound a little lackluster, but when you read the other half of Note Pop, it details an added option that allows the caster to select between 3 damage types for 3 varying effects. You could, for instance, choose Force. You could potentially daze every creature in a 10-foot radius, potentially allowing your party to escape a risky situation safely. You could choose Psychic and give your party a fighting chance by debuffing each enemy hit by Note Pop, who also failed the saving throw. Or Thunder, to cause each creature who fails the save to be tossed about in a direction of your choice. By doing something as simple as changing this spell into an AoE, you've now turned a solid single target spell into an AoE support spell that is only first level, so its cost is quite low, allowing you to use it very, very often and add a new dimension to your play. The new spell name would be Notesplosion, because it's a note that explodes. Very simple, very creative. Don't have to give me a standing ovation for that one. I tried my best. However, we go into our final spell of this video. One I had forgotten about as I created the spellbook over 4 years ago just about. It's called Gale Cleave, and it's a spellbook that's centered around combining magic with archery. But the main core theme is that they're mostly wind-related spells, as I love the idea of druids or rangers using this type of Tempest to attack their opponents. The core mechanic is that I wanted to create bonus action spells, which may seem OP until I tell you right now that only rangers can use these spells, as I find giving rangers the ability to use spells as a bonus action to be something that doesn't really break D&D to a large extent, due to them only being half casters, which means they're mostly going to be using their action economy for other things than just being a dedicated caster. They're going to be weaving their spells in and using them during times when they need to the most. And our spell, Gale Cleave, reads as such. As a bonus action, you cause wind to form around a weapon you are wielding or a free hand. You then release a thin condensed blade of wind forward. You must make a ranged spell attack against the creature within range, and on hit, you deal 1d6 slashing damage. Making a ranged spell attack on a creature within 5 feet of you does not impose disadvantage. On a critical hit, you deal extra damage equal to your spellcasting modifier. you have the ability to cast this spell as an action instead, altering its properties. You send a slice of wind forward in a 30-foot long, 10-foot wide line in front of you. Each creature must make a dexterity saving throw or take 3d8 slicing damage, taking half as much on a success. So, after hearing that description, it might remind you of something. Yeah, funnily enough, I made this spellbook before JJK ever even aired as an anime. So I'm just going to take it as a sign that, this was always meant to be. So the spell is essentially a wind-based dismantle in its current form, which means we have to make a wind-based cleave to accompany it. What we take for our first spellbind is a new type of spellbind that you may have seen earlier in this video that I refer to as a sealing type. We take range totality to touch, reducing our spell from a range of 60 feet to just touch, turning our spell into a melee spell attack in the process, and in exchange we generate 1 extra point for each tier of range we possess at the time of taking this spellbind. Thereafter we can increase either damage or duration by 2 tiers. However, we cannot increase the range of our spell past touch. This functionally causes our Gale Cleave to be a melee spell attack that deals 1d10 damage if it hits, as a bonus action, and 3d12 if used as an action after increasing it by 2 tiers, thanks to the expungement of points by sealing away part of our spell's functionality, and that we took away all of its range. By increasing our base points from 6 to 10, then increasing our damage by 2 tiers, which would have cost 9, this leaves us with 1 point left. But this is where I'm not done. No. You see, usually when you bind a spell, the original is changed forever. At least until you revert it upon a level up. But in doing that, we lose Dismantle. So we take our final spellbind, Reduced Potency to Variant Restoration, which reduces every tier across the board by 2, and in exchange you gain access to both the original and the binded version of the spell.
And so there we have it, Sukuna's curse technique, Shrine in D&D.
For the spell's new name, however, for the sake of giving it a fun twist, I have dubbed it the Touch of Tempest, because remember, this is a sort of wind element, and I would like to display that in the spell's nameage. And with that, my friends, we bridge into the final act of our video. My thanks and appreciation to all of you. Thank you sincerely for 1,000 subscribers. I always knew I'd one day achieve this goal. I actually planned to try and reach 1,000 subs by the end of summer or somewhere around there, but the absolute boom in support over the past week utterly shattered that goal and expectation entirely, turning it into atoms in front of my eyes. It was amazing. So thank you for that. To those that have decided to support me directly through Patreon, I'd like to give you guys a really special thanks for deciding to invest in me as a creative in this space. Especially when there are so many other creators out there, and you all chose to put forth what you can spare to support my dream, my ideas, my creativity. That means more than you would ever know. Truly. Which brings me to my next point of this 1,000 subscriber thank you. To those that have stuck around to the end of our video, you have a bit of a surprise waiting for you. Oh, that special prize I spoke about that I said would be here at the beginning of the video? To everyone who's here, you've been given a couple weeks heads up because I, Zagreus Winters, am planning on hosting and running my very own Culling Games. And the notice for this will be up a day or so before the official announcement video on my Patreon. This announcement will be visible for all members who join. Further details will await in the future. And to be completely upfront and transparent with you, this will be a paid event, as I am a professional dungeon master and it is functionally my job, so I can't really give away this type of service for free, especially because of the sheer amount of time and energy that it would take to run it in the first place. But I have a lot of experience in running large-scale events just like this. I've ran 3 battle royales for my community before, which hosted over 16 players each time, the largest battle royale being 27 players. So, funnily enough, I have the very unique skill set to run a Culling Games to its full amazing capacity. So I'm going to do it. I think it'd be really fun, so look out for that announcement in the coming weeks. To all of my people out there wondering where all my Apocryphon content is, do not worry. I have another artist who's currently working alongside me, creating fire with our pins and digital paper, making some amazing works for future Apocryphon videos to give to all of you guys. I really wanted to create an enriched visual experience and recognize that I'm only one person, and sitting here and doing all these illustrations, while fun, is very, very time consuming. And so having a team of artists to help me with this project is going to be a huge, huge step in allowing me to give you guys all an enriched visual experience. There are so many moving pieces to all of this, but I'm honestly overjoyed to have people that even remotely care about the things that I create in the first place. So with that being said, I'll end the video here before I keep yapping. And to all of you out there, let's keep making beautiful things together. And I'll see you in the next one.